Welcome on in, everyone.
Is
that
You
a
know, I'm
secret?
just out here on
What
the
is
lot.
this?
You know, in an interesting position here because here we're in the middle of a third game, potential six games. I think you guys said all day long, and it's hot out here. You know, I got a lot of stuff to sell. But you see this pin? You see this pin?
I do.
Guys. I'm gonna have you take the reference of the sell me this pen. You're gonna do so about these teams that I'm hearing about. I need to know which one I need to drive away with at the end of this game, at the end of the series. Who's gonna get me to victory? So
Are you
let's
kidnapping
go
them?
ahead and no, I'm riding along. I'm getting them a very good deal.
Okay.
All right? I'm getting them a very good deal. So, Mr. Rafa, as our EGP individual, why should I, use this pen or walk away with this team to get me into game 3?
Well, I'll tell you, at the top of the day, I originally had no team hand out to win. However, after witnessing the game 1 performance and how close it was game 2, yes, no team pulled it out in a game 2 victory, but I think the improvements that Evil Genius's Prodigies have made show that they, as a vehicle, are enduring and will get you so many miles out in the long run. Loses improve, and the wins are coming through over time. So I think if you want a car and a vehicle that will last you a long time, and if you're in for a long future investment, EGP is the way to go.
Woo-hoo, sounds like a good one. You'll be riding that one in the sunset a couple times at least if you're going to be investing in that. I don't know how much like a pen that was, but I do appreciate the enthusiasm at which the positivity reigns for that vehicle moving forward. Okay, I could see a reason why you'd want me to move away with this one at the end of this, but there's another person in here, and I want to get their side of it. There's this other beautiful piece of technology over here, and what do you got for me, Joshi? What do you got for no team?
All right, check it out. This bad boy, first off, it's a great color. It's the color blue, which has nothing to do with no team in the slightest, but it's what I do happen to have on hand.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
He's bringing
But
stuff from home.
there's a couple things you got to pay
What?
attention to. This one, the balance on this pen is absolutely fantastic. There is no weak member of the team. You could move around the entire map, and there's nothing that you could possibly asking for anywhere else. And if you want something with trigger pull, we got it. It's a clicker. You got the Griffin here ready to go at a moment's notice, looking for anything you could possibly do in order to get things on the road. At the same time, if you end up running out of things and you need to get into a really deep thing, I can unscrew the top of this pen, and you run out of ink like I almost have, you still got a backup. You always got Dragoon, who at the very end of the game is going to be in a spot where he is ready to pull it all together at the very end. And look at this, no team. When push comes to shove and you need something to get you through the rocky terrain, you got Energel, no team.
I need that pen. I need it right now. Give me the
Hold
pen.
on.
I need to buy.
I need to find my own pen.
He brought prompts.
I need a pen.
Look at the homework
I'm trying
this
to find
man
a pen.
did.
This is not fair.
How do you take
gotta
notes?
give it
It's
to
too
the
late.
village.
You have. What do they say about impressions, Rafa? You get one chance here on the lot. You
I
get
can't
one
find a
chance here in
pen.
Proving
Give me a
Grounds.
break.
You got one more chance, and I'm driving away with no team.
Hold
Thank
away.
you, Joshi. 'Cause I'm
trying to
gonna
find
go
a
get my
pen.
lot. All right, goodbye.
No, please! Shady car salesman, don't go! Please!
Wait, Mark, do you not take notes during the games?
I take mental notes and I type them out. Like,
Okay, I respect that. I respect that you can, in fact, type things out, but you gotta have a little bit of flair
this
to it.
is
You
so
gotta be a little bit
awful. Where's
old-fashioned.
my pen? I usually have like a cup that holds all the pencils and the pens available. Man, I'm distraught.
It's okay.
What the heck?
See, you don't have a pen, you don't have a cup, but I have both of them.
Well, this sucks.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's okay,
what-
it's okay. It's okay. You beat me in a lot of the trivia throughout the regular season. I don't think I won any Tic-Tac trivia.
Okay.
You beat me most of the time in Pixel Perfect, so let me have this, Mark.
Okay, well, here's the thing, Josh. I want Mazel because I'm emotionally
okay.
distraught and I need some emotional comfort and therapy after losing just because I didn't have my pen. Where's my pen, bro?
Where did I get that? Like, it was just disappeared on my desk. And
weird.
Joshi, do you have one too? Do you?
Yeah.
Do you have
Can I have that
this
pen,
kind of
Mazel?
utensil? I wish I could give it to you, buddy. But in all actuality, it was a fun little bit. But no team momentum on their side. It's actually incredible that we made it to this point. The fact that we've gotten all 6 games today for the first time I've ever gotten to go to 3 games in any series. And it's incredible that, both these amateur teams are putting up everything they can to not have their season in. That's what we have to remember in all this. This is everything on the line for spring split for both of these teams, Joshi.
It really is. And we saw that last game was back and forth and back and forth. There's opportunities everywhere for teams to try and break it open, but they were so much better at withstanding their opponent's attacks and mounting one of their own. And it really was just these small slip-ups that we saw that ended up being the end of the game. Faisal on the wrong side of the map without teleport just gives an opportunity for no team to end. And I was worried because it was starting to look very reminiscent of what we saw in game 1, where that exact same Baron was the thing that gave EGP the win.
Indeed. Sorry, I thought Rafa might have something to say
He's
about
too
the
busy.
potential comeback. He's too busy.
He's got the
trying to
1,000
find
yard
his
stare.
pen.
literally
looking for a pen.
recovering from not having a pen, guys. I'm now emotionally distraught. So
I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. That guy is not very nice for making you think you needed a pen. But on the side of EGP, right, it is a little bit disheartening to come away from that first game we had where it still was pretty tightly contested, but you had a lot of strength for EGP to come into the second game and lose a lot of that steam, lose a lot of that momentum, Rafa.
the other thing too for Evil Geniuses Prodigies is that the game felt like, while no team were making strong efforts and fights back and forth, it was really what came down to what Josh said, is that the team that was aggressing too far forward was getting heavily punished in the reactions and the responses. And it's like, no team didn't necessarily have like a combat advantage against the remaining members of Perry and Faisal. And so they avoided. They just said, okay, let's zoom on over to the top side of the map. There's an angle where we can just end the game. And it felt like Perry and Faisal were just not prepared. Like, oh crap, they can just end like that. And that is a moment where in the late game, death timers are so long, you lose track of like, okay, how much time do I actually have to be on the rift before I have to come back and defend the base?
And I think, like, especially looking at, some spotlights to go into this next game, this final game for this series, that top lane is volatile, man. Yeah. You're looking at some craziness coming from the top side, and it seems to affect the entirety of the map through Faisal and through Dragoon.
Yeah, I definitely want to see a bit more attention paid from the junglers towards the top side, right? We've seen both Sketch and Scooped have these rather large leads, and they are doing okay with it, but neither of them are putting out the pressure necessary to win you the game. And so as we are in a spot where you are facing elimination, whoever loses this game is done with Proving Grounds. I want to see Faisal and Dragoon getting the resources to carry.
And I think you have to give a lot of props to Dragoon in that last game, because game 1 on the Jax didn't necessarily look like he was a part of the game or just kind of watching the game fold out of his hands. But in this one on the Mordekaiser, he was way more in control and had a stronger impact on deciding the fights.
He did indeed. But guys, it is do or die time. The clock has struck midnight and we are ready for our final picks and bans of the day. One of these teams is going home. Let's find out who it is. Rafa, Joshi, take it away.
He said it. He said it.
He said it. The magic words. You're going to keep it. And it's the last one of the day.
The other thing too, Josh, it is game 6. And in the words of
Game
Smacks,
6. Game 6 Poggers.
Correct. Game 6 Poggers.
All right, and we are going to be loading into Champion Select right away, so we get to see lots of adaptation throughout this series. And as we saw previously, momentum matters, right? EGA kind of crumbled after they lost the second game. It was really just Taco Gaming the rest of the way, and now no team was the one who won the second game. They're going to be pushing EGP to their limits, and when you just win a game like that, that's back and forth and is mentally grueling, this is when you start finding your opportunities as who's going to be the stars, who's going to carry you. Now, I already said Dragoon, but I also want to give a lot of props to Griffin, who had a fantastic game 1 for a whole lot of it, and then the second game as well, he was instrumental to a lot of their leads.
I think this is super appropriate music for a last game. Feel like we're in a spy film now. Do you hear this?
I do, yeah. Feels very James Bond. And I mean, we saw a couple teams sneaking around a little bit. One of them is going to be able to sneak through towards the end and find their way to play up against FlyQuest coming up very shortly. But we are seeing very similar bans coming out from EGP, right? It is going to be the Shyvana taken away once again. Want to make sure that that is not available as the counter to the Hecarim, which is almost definitely their first pick.
Also the changes, as you called it out, they wanted to go for the Hecarim once again, and this time eliminating not one, but two jungle counterpick options from Griffin in both the Shotgun Man and the Dragon. No team are going to have the dip down further into Griffin's champion pool. The young 15-year-old who hit Challenger for the first time last year, I believe, when he was just before, when he was, I don't remember if he had just turned 14 and then hit Challenger, but yeah. Hitting Challenger at a very young age.
Now, you would probably hate it if I said that.
In his very first Proving Grounds performance, impressing so many so far on his journey here. And now no team has to rally behind both him and the rest of the squad to push on forward in the lower bracket.
And we're seeing a lot of similarities between this draft and the last one. The order is a little bit different, but it was the Rise picked up for Blaze once again. And the Zeri going over Scooped, and this means that you have a very known backline. And so the question is, do you want to play range to attack it from really far away, or do you actually want to come on in? And it looks like EGP leaning towards the same kind of strategy from last game. And honestly, if I was them, I would be very comfortable doing it in the exact same way, saying, yeah, I think we could have won that game. I think we could have made some small adjustments and won it anyway. So they're picking up the same three champions that they had a lot of success with up against No Team last game, but they just need to be able to find the last bits of opportunities. Don't let Perry fall too far behind in the jungle and prevent Griffin from taking off.
And this is an interesting change here for EG Prodigies. Instead of locking down the Nautilus for Daption, they immediately go for Leo's Orianna, knowing that, you know, unless we see a Rise going over to Dragoon in the top lane, this is Blaze returning to the Rise. Once again, they want to nail down in this mid lane matchup. They know that, you know, outside of the other No Team members coming in for a unexpected visit to the mid lane, you know, Leo was doing well, just farming alongside Blaze, just kind of handshaking the laning phase and still pulling out massive shockwaves that almost turned things around for EG Prodigies.
Yeah. I also want to give a little bit of, insight, right? Because EG Prodigies are part of the Evil Geniuses greater organization. They have the opportunity to play up against Evil Geniuses Academy, who we were seeing earlier as well. But no team, I mean, to their credit, they do have Durak, who has had a lot of time as a coach. I believe it was of Columbia College throughout most of his career, where they were consistently making top 8. So they do have a coach that has given them a lot of help throughout this journey. But no team literally just has had no team, right? They are not a sponsored organization. They are just doing this all out of passion for the game, out of a desire to go pro, and being able to threaten a lot of these other teams that have a much stronger infrastructure. Very impressive for this team.
Yeah, no team are pushing the boundaries, and even though Firefire is technically not a starting player on this roster, the spirit of Firefire lives on, as he is technically one of the subs for this squad, and Firefire was the one that and Firefire also was one of the 5 players that, alongside No Org last year, won the entire Proving Grounds tournament this time last year.
Yeah, so now as they're pushed up against the wall, I'm kind of expecting Dragoon to go back towards the Mordekaiser. Maybe not right away and just give Griffin an opportunity to pick his champion first, but I feel like when push comes to shove, that's something that you can definitely go back to. And oh boy, the Kazakhs can be coming through. When you are in a spot where you have to flip the game, when you have to go for something a bit more crazy, Griffin says, give me an assassin. I'm going to carry this game. I'm going to push us through to the next round.
And we've seen a couple of schools of thought for the Kazakhs, right? Either it is more of the full-on lethality build if you're going in with the, I think it's normally the Electrocute. But for some other Kazakhs, they have gone the Conquer route, and they go for something like a Core Drinker into just more bruiser items. You jump in and you're just you're a threat that is distracting the rest of the team and trying to buy as much time for the real carries in the back line in both Rise and the Zeri to pump out damage.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that you can look to reset on while you do have this Renata Glask, and just being able to keep yourself alive and reset from there. But the Seraphine, this is a crazy composition coming out from EGP. Everybody on something that they're very comfortable with. Daption back on an Enchanter, Faisal on the Jace. Like, this composition does a little bit of everything, and they do it quite well. And they have so much poke later on that Dragoon. I'm kind of surprised that in this position, he's going to be going and putting himself back on a tank duty if this Ornn does get locked in, because he's so confident that Griffin and Blaze and Scooped are going to be able to do the damage necessary to actually win the game.
Now, what this does for No Team, yes, we just saw him on a massive Mordekaiser game, but this will allow No Team to now have primary engage, something that even in the last game, they were kind of lacking a little bit, because it's so hard to force a fight onto someone unless they just step up into range of Mordekaiser for Death Realm. And then it's like, okay, we've eliminated one member, we can potentially walk in. But still, for the most part, it was all about relying on EGP to walk into them. But now if No Team are the ones that are finding themselves in the advantageous position in the mid game, they can force fights with Dragoon's ultimate now.
And I am excited to see it. And let's be real, this Ornn also has solo kill pressure into the Jace, right? It's not something that Faisal can just completely ignore. He needs to make sure he's constantly kiting. He can't get hit by too many Qs, because that just gives a lot of windows for Dragoon to try and get in. So there's a lot of fire going back and forth between these two teams. And again, this is the last game one of these two teams will play in Proving Grounds. This is the last game one of these two teams will play until after MSI in terms of a competitive organization. And so EGP have given the tools necessary over to Faisal in order to say, we think you can carry us this game, take us home. Whereas on the other side, it is returning to Griffin. You're returning to the jungler saying, look, I know you're 15, I know this is your first competitive season, but you are so good that you're going to be able to take us home.
And Griffin, it's not the Conquer build. And of course, when I was mentioning the full lethality build, I said electrocute. I misspoke. I wanted to say the first strike, because of course that is where you get extra damage amp, and we get also the extra gold as well, proccing on any foe that you're able to land damage on first. And that has been the name of the game for most snowballing assassins for the past couple of patches now. And this is ways where Griffin, while on Kha'Zix, it doesn't have the best clearing speed matching up against something like a Hecarim. If you find the kills early on, you don't care about, out farming your opponents. You care about the fact that there is now a giant space bug that is tearing into your team.
Yeah. As long as you're able to continue maintaining that momentum up, unlike against INT, there's plenty of opportunities here for Griffin to just totally take control of the game, as everybody here on EGP is going to be looking for opportunities to try and shut him down. But you also got to be very careful, because you have a very squishy composition. The only person who can really build tank on this roster is going to be Perry, and everybody else is going to be relying on the double shields coming out between Leo and Daption.
Daption with the pivot over to the Seraphine. Now we know why they didn't immediately go for the Nautilus once again. This is a bit of a little pocket pick stretching into all the way, as you already mentioned before, Daption's old Enchanter roots. It's not the Lulu, but powerful engage tools now, like the Encore, ways that you can turn a fight around in your favor or start one in your own right.
Wow, this is aggressive.
Scooped actually taking a lot of fire from Daption and Sketch. At first it looked like Jashuka and Scooped were the ones encircling around Sketch and Daption for the fight, but neither hit level 2 quite yet, and so they were able to answer right on back. Scooped didn't burn any Summoner spells, whereas Sketch burned Heal and Ignite from Daption.
Yeah, honestly, with the amount of trading back and forth, it's a really good read, right? Because Kai'Sa at level 1, if you're fighting in the wave, is not going to be doing all that much damage, because the Q is soaked up by so many minions. And Scoop and Jashuka are just able to find these plays.
Oh, beautiful handshake from Jashuka. Pulls Daption in, forcing the flash out. Yes, this is an Enchanter, and it has some nice poke abilities, but it is on the squishier sides rather than something like the Nautilus from beforehand. Perry's going to get spotted on these Raptor cams. Looks like he's going to be completing the full clear cycle, whereas Griffin, now that he's pathing towards the bottom side of the map, this potentially exposes Daption and Sketch to some danger while their jungler is away.
Yeah, I'm so shocked that at the very end of the day, when you are pushed up in a spot where you have to win to continue playing, they're choosing to go with the Seraphine Kaisa, right? This is not a combination we've been seeing a whole lot. While I do think that this champion should be seeing a lot more play, the Seraphine that is, it's something where I don't know how much these guys have actually practiced it. It's something where it requires a lot of discipline, and when you are tired, when you have been playing for 2 previous games and you still need to keep yourself online, it creates a lot of situations where you need to protect the Seraphine, and that's not something that a lot of teams are always used to doing. It's usually appealing for the AD carry, not the support.
Yeah, we're going to see if EGP can make that mental switch and be in the presence of mind switch as well, saying that, hey, our support is no longer on frontline duty. He's not the one that can face check for us. It now is up to Perry or members like Leo and Sketch and Faisal to use their skill shots to poke into bushes before us, because you can't have a Seraphine looking for vision by herself like this. The handshake right into Daption. Daption doesn't have flash anymore, and the last 2 auto attacks, Jashuka and Scoop will pick up first blood.
Oh, that's brutal, right? Seraphine definitely needs to be in a pretty good position, but isn't necessarily the most dominant laning champion. And looking at their match history, this is actually the first time that Daption has played Seraphine in the 2022 spring. So there's lots of opportunities here for Scooped and Jashuka to try and punish them. I was expecting them to be a bit of a stronger laning bottom lane, and so far they have been looking really good in these double enchanter lanes.
Now Blaze just walking into the bush, fainting maybe a ward. Actually, not sure. You know, I thought Blaze was gonna sneak on over a roam towards the top side of the map, but has to take care of the wave first. Faisal slightly overextended. Griffin could look for something here, but he's also on a ward as well, so Faisal can keep his distance.
Yeah, and Faisal also has the wave coming back towards him, right? He's not super worried. He doesn't need to play super aggressive. And so he wants to make sure that he has the resources necessary, but he can't afford to give it right on back to Dragoon. And interestingly enough, we haven't seen either jungler become particularly active just quite yet. Instead, it's just going to be full farming from both of them. And I feel like Griffin is super happy about that. He's going to be coming online a little bit more in the mid game, while Perry is still looking for opportunities.
Flash from Blaze. Perry can't get in range and doesn't want to chance it, but the flash from Griffin leaps
the
on
W!
over, and the Void Spike finds the mark. And a kill for Griffin goes over to no team.
The young 15-year-old, so smart, waiting for the W, waiting for the flash in order to actually pick it up. And even though they're going to be giving over the dragon, just the patience that comes through from this guy when it is everything on the line, he's able to find it, the flash E to get in, to get all the damage down, and just look, he waits just the extra moment necessary to pick up that kill, and there's nothing left for Perry to do. I love this play coming through from Griffin, and he can continue it. He's already got the first kill they could potentially look to snowball with.
This is how you want to set the pace if you're playing an assassin jungler like Kha'Zix, right? Especially with first strike, you get those kills snowballing, and the gold expedited is even greater than any other setup that you would normally have. This is the gamble that you take, taking a jungle like this, but if you pull it off, you're the one that leads the tempo and leads the tone for the rest of the mid game.
So we'll see what they are able to do. Oh, Sketch.
Handshake, not quite yet. Sketch taking a lot of damage. Forced to flash once again. Still has heal available. Meanwhile, Faisal. Oh, is this a solo kill opportunity from Dragoon onto Faisal here? Doesn't have Ignite quite yet, but lands the double knockup both from the Searing Charge and the Call of the Forge God. Faisal, though, remains calm and doesn't burn the flash.
Yeah, good stuff coming out from Faisal, good stuff from Dragoon, but here comes the first play. It's no team.
Realm War from Blaze. Griffin is also having his sights locked onto 2 juicy targets. Blaze takes out Sketch. Another one from Daption is actually going to flash away. And they trade it out. Jashuka's the one that goes down. The turret was just too strong to be able to handle for the aggro.
Good defensive play coming out from Sketch and Daption, but it's still no team looking to make things happen first. And denying a lot of experience coming through from Sketch is going to pay off in the long run. At the same time, the game remains relatively even. One of the big things that we've been looking at is Faisal on this Jace is actually kind of tearing Dragoon apart. Oh, Daption, I don't know if you can hold this freeze.
Gonna be close. Oh no, Scoop takes him out. But now Perry has the movement speed available. Scoot may have been able to pick up a kill, but the flash away, there's no way, right? The burn away. Woo! That was so close. Perry, blinking on 20 HP, still manages to get it out alive.
I love the idea. I love the bait, but you're just too squishy right now. If you were playing Leona, you definitely could have made that play, but just giving over an extra kill, it feels like Scooped and Jishuka, they are the ones who still have the stamina to continue trying to make these plays. They almost get a double kill, a 1v2 coming in from Scooped. And we'll see how much further they can push this, right? We were saying that earlier in the series. Scooped and Sketch, even when you were giving them resources, they weren't necessarily putting the pressure on to carry the game. But now I feel like Scooped, he's got that chip on his shoulder. He's like, I am not letting somebody else dictate whether or not I get through. I am not going to be a passenger. I'm going to be the carry, and we're already seeing them have a fantastic start.
Yeah, Scoop definitely feels like he has stepped up his game going into game 2 now that he's got his hands on the Zeri. He's been able to dip out and kite successfully in a lot of these later fights that we saw from the previous game. And then this time around, he's the one, as you already said, being given resources and able to at least maneuver his way out of these situations, but you got to maneuver your way out of this one. That's the onslaught of shadows. That's the devastating charge. That's a little bit more difficult to get out of, and Sketch is the one that picks up the kill.
Yeah, I mean, very, very well done coming out from Perry, right? Making sure that there's no way Scoop can get to the wall and find his way out. So it's very clean, and that's one of the things that we've been looking for throughout a lot of this tournament is just clean plays, heads-up ideas, and making sure that you know that you can prevent things from happening. So the game remains relatively even. This Kaisa scaling is a potential issue later on, but oh, okay, he's fine. Is he? Is he fine?
Oh, maybe not. Devastating charge is right there. Handshake misses. Jishuka, but he's got Scooped in the routes, and hostile takeover. It's gonna make their way, Mark, and Perry's like,
ward.
Stupid ward, I'll take you out. But he's got the chilling spine, and he's going back for the re-engage on the Jishuka. There's nothing that stops him, right? Handshake pushes him away, but the flash is what gets Jishuka out alive. He's gonna be able to at least walk away. Scooped is also being pushed out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of trading back and forth. Griffin not going to be jumping in right there. It's a lot of pressure that Perry is trying to put on the game, demanding that the members of no team respond to him correctly. And it is something that kind of bit him last time, but so far it's been a little bit more successful. So as they continue to play through this game, we will have to pay attention to their Dragon setups, to their Rift Herald setups. We haven't necessarily been seeing a whole lot of trading, excuse me, a whole lot of contesting of these actual objectives. It's usually just one team picking them up and the other team not in a position to do anything about it. That's what we saw with the first Dragon. That's what we saw with the first Herald this game. And it's something that has kind of bitten both teams back and forth as they try and do it without necessarily having enough control over the geography.
EGP are still fighting to maintain control of the map, though. And Perry, well, in the opener from the previous game was not as clean and as great as the Kane game 1. This time around, he's been able to match some of the moves. Oh, yeah, he's got ultimate available as well. Watch for the shockwave as well. We've seen it time and time again. Griffin trying to dip and dodge and weave. 1300 on the Dragon. Griffin goes back in, but Perry is huge! What a massive combo! The charge into shockwave finds and deletes 3.
Oh my gosh, all at once. Faisal dies on the other side, but who cares? That's 3 kills for 1 happening on the bottom side of the map, and that combination was so good. I don't know who called the button. I don't know who got the fight actually started, but watching them all do it at the exact same time, they all press R within fractions of a second of each other, is exactly what we're looking to see when teams are pushed up against the wall. When you are looking, everybody just needs to have the same game plan. It is so easy. And you're just like, somebody presses R and everybody follows it up. So great stuff coming out from EGP. They find themselves 2 Dragons, and their composition gets really, really strong as the game goes on.
And for... Oh, we got the replay of the top lane solo kill. Dragoon once again finds Faisal with the double knockup.
Yep. I mean, that feels so bad as somebody who plays both of these champions. The second part of Call of the Forge God is so forgiving as an Ornn player, right? You can basically do almost whatever you want, but look at this. Perry is here. He doesn't have ultimate, though.
He has Ghost. If Jishuka and Scooped push out far enough, there's no flash on Jishuka, but Griffin and Blaze read the play. They're going to send 4 total towards the bot side of the map. The Rift Herald should be able to crash,
yeah,
but it won't be able to take out the turret completely.
Nah, it'll just get 2 plates, and it's shared amongst at least 2 members there. So, you know, half a kill going over to 2 people on no team is not the end of the world, especially since it's getting traded back for at least half a kill for Leo and maybe an entire second plate here as well. So a play coming through from no team ends up not resulting in much of an advantage. And every single time I watch... Oh, hold on. Faisal, recognizing he's got this window to try and do it, not going to be doing the red buff. But every time I watch a Seraphine game come through, it's a situation of watching how well is your team going to be creating a front line. How well are you going to be creating a situation where you can take these longer drawn out fights. And so far, it looks like EGP are just going with the Wombo combo, which, you know, to its credit, works well, but it's not necessarily creating a whole lot more space.
Oh, hostile takeover doesn't quite land, but it separates Daption and Sketch from being able to play.
Okay.
Just isolates Goop. Okay, but now Griffin has the damage available, forcing the flash out of Sketch. Daption goes down, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end. Yeah,
the damage coming through. Sketch has got the Kraken Slayer build. He's looking for these big plays and can do so much damage much earlier on in the game with this build than the AP build. He wants to try and snowball it through, but look at this. While everybody is on the bottom side for no team, there's an entire top half of the jungle getting picked up by Perry. Gets the Raptors, gets the red buff, and should get the Krugs afterwards as well.
And just taking as many resources as you can on the cross side. EGP not falling into some of the traps that they felt themselves being carried over when no team were making a lot of moves in the early game, and EGP felt the need to respond and react appropriately. This time around, it's like, okay, well, you know what? We only lost one. Sketch got out alive. Let's try to maximize the resources on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I do like it. It feels like EGP are playing a little bit more patient in times when they need to, and it's the kind of lesson that is really hard to learn a lot of the time, and it feels like almost a response, right? When you are in game point, when you are in a tournament where if you lose the game, you're done, like you don't get a chance to come back, a lot of teams will end up playing a little bit more defensively. They don't want to be the team that makes mistakes, but it feels like that's a little bit what EGP is doing a lot of the time, but no team is willing to just go for it. They say, like, if we're not going to get a play, we're going to make sure it is on our terms, whether we win or lose.
Yeah, no, and that's what makes Griffin so terrifying right now on this Kha'Zix. After the first kill that we saw, and it's only been one other to his name before EGP were able to turn things around at that second dragon fight. It was so cataclysmically positive for the side of EGP. No team have to pick the right moments, because remember, this is still a team without Dragoon.
Yeah.
They don't have strong initiation by themselves.
Yeah, okay, good blue trinket from Sketch, making sure that he knows how much danger he's in. But we are getting very close to the teamfight timer mark. It is 30 seconds until the third dragon spawns, and we already see 2 to the soul going over to EGP. And both teams, again, looking to line up for this potential fight. Both teams are moving into a position where they can try and contest things, but EGP is split and no team is together.
Now Perry almost getting face checked by Griffin there, backs away, cedes control of the river entrance over to no team. Now Griffin has to pick his... Okay. I thought that was going to be an engage opportunity from EGP. I was ready for it, and now Griffin has to choose his spots correctly, though. He wants to solo out this dragon. They're calling Dragoon over to make sure that they can secure the third dragon of the game and not allow EGP to get to soul point. But for that trade, Faisal will secure first break on the other side of the map.
He'll get most of the second turret, too. That is a big commitment coming out from no team in order to grab that mountain dragon. And look at the rotation coming through from EGP. They're moving almost everybody up to the top side. So if anybody tries to do anything about it, they're going to be in a bad spot.
Sketch doesn't have sums. He only has Killer Instinct. Hold up. He survives the encounter with Griffin.
Oh my gosh, but that's not what you want to be asking. You want to be saying he killed him. It's not a situation where they're going to be looking for an opportunity. Griffin wants to be the one who takes this entire kill, take the entire HP bar. Now Faisal, we said he would get almost the entire turret. He's so close, like 1 or 2 more auto attacks. Dragoon trying to defend it.
He dodges out on the knockup. He gets it. That's 2 turrets solo, completely going over the Faisal. I definitely want to take a look at the gold charts now. That's
like 3.5 kills.
Holy moly, that's a lot of gold.
That's a lot of money. Faisal just got a huge investment to him by determining that they didn't want him to come down. He's backing with 2,500 gold at this point. Has almost 2,000 gold more than Dragoon, and that is a massive amount to be giving over to Jace. Jace is not this early game champion that everybody talks about, he scales so well, and especially in games like this, where the engage coming through is entirely based on where Dragoon is, and if they can find these good setups, Faisal can just free hit from so far away, and he will continuously put on a split push threat up against Dragoon as the game goes later. So I feel like EGP are in a perfect position to start just lining up for Future Dragons, lining up for the Herald, lining up for the Baron, and daring no team to try and come in.
Yeah, because if Faisal is always threatening the split push on the other side of the map, it's either then Blaze or Dragoon that has to always answer. If it's Blaze that comes in, then you don't have a way to peel for any of the threats onto the backline. You don't have that empowered Rune Prison. But if it's not Dragoon that's with you at the objective fights, you have no engage. You have no re-engage, or you have no ways to counter against Evil Geniuses forcing the fight onto your backline. So you have to pick and choose who is going to be the one that is dedicated to making sure that Faisal doesn't just completely open up your base.
Yeah, no team, once again, going to the objectives a little bit faster than EGP. EGP not looking to contest this, but they have teleports if they want to bring Leo, but I think they're going to make the same trade. They're going to give up the Herald in exchange. No, they're going to fight this, but the Herald's already dead.
Yeah, Herald's already dead. Dragoon with the ultimate finds a knock-up on the 2. Looks
Oh,
for
he's
the
so
knock-up, but
far.
he doesn't find it. Daption with the re-engage with the Encore, and now realizing no team are like, hold up, we've been isolated. Griffin gets combated to death by Faisal.
This is disaster.
This is so bad for the no team, but EGP. They see a win in their eyes. This is a massive, monumental victory on the Rift. This will push them ahead, and now they will have the advantage for the remainder of Game 3. That is 6,000 gold ahead now for Evil Geniuses Prodigies at match point.
An absolute disaster at the very end. We said they were giving everything over to Griffin to try and get the youngster to try and carry them, but it is Faisal who sits him down, tells him to respect the elders, because he wins the duel off on the top side of this, and that makes it so rough. Look at how much no team try and commit towards the top side when they recognize that Dragoon can't do anything, but Faisal winning the duel as Jace against the Kazakhs can rejoin the rest of the team, and they still have their buttons, they still have their shockwave, they still have everything that they could possibly ask for when you get to the rest of the fight. There's no way for no team to win a 3v5, and again, this, I think, is no team almost losing the game on the spot because of a great play from Faisal.
No team has to dig deep now to hold on to whatever composure and just mental stability that they can have and muster. It's been a long series, even though it's a best of 3. The first 2 games were so back and forth that I cannot imagine the amount of stress and the amount of pressure that both of these teams are feeling in the heat of battle on match point. For Evil Geniuses Prodigies, off of that fight right there, that is huge momentum, but it's now up to no team to see if they can remain resilient and continue pushing forward in their game plan.
Yeah, I like this from no team. You can't afford to just roll over and die. Yes, you have Ornn scaling. Yes, Zeri is going to be relevant later on in the game, but EGP scales so well, and they're just going.
Okay, Perry right onto the back line, and that's a huge encore from Daption. Catches Jashuka in the back line, but scooped into a
Shockwave!
Shockwaves! Time and time again from Leo. Finds critical moments to annihilate no team members off the Rift.
Oh my gosh, Leo's ability to just wait, Leo's ability to hold on to the shockwave has been displayed so many times throughout this series. He is constantly waiting for the opportune moment to use that ability, and again, he finds people. Now no team, they're going to try and sneak this. They have the damage for it. They can definitely do it if it's uncontested.
Hail Mary of all Hail Marys. Griffin and Blaze want to sneak this away, but immediately gets scouted out by the blue trinket thanks to what I believe was Sketch. They secure the dragon. This puts Evil Geniuses at soul point. And this is Mountain Soul as well, Josh, as we take a look back at the replay.
Yeah, I mean, the engage coming out from EGP is not the cleanest thing in the world, but again, when you are this far ahead, you can just kind of take a lot of these fights because you have the gold, and the shockwave coming through locks down everybody, and only Jashuka is able to walk away. Patience, patience, patience from Leo. When he is so tired, when he is fatigued in these games, he's still able to think so clearly about what it is he's trying to do.
This is the moment that makes or breaks heroes in these proving grounds to see how long their endurance can be. And that is one hell of a shock blast to suffer at the hands of Faisal.
Gets worse.
Jashuka gonna have to be careful about where he walks the next time he is poking around for vision control. EGP setting up for control of the Baron.
This is what they can look to do, right? They do it relatively healthily. They do it with a lot of poke. And if they are there first, it is so difficult to walk through a choke point when there is an Orianna ball just chilling there. So now, as they take control of more of the vision, as they create spaces where no team are not allowed to tread, we will watch as EGP set things up for a potential textbook victory. But Blaze, what are you looking to Realm Warp? Where are you looking to go?
Remember the last time we saw Realm Warp into Fog of War? No good. You got to be careful about which angle you choose. And a no team, I know that things are looking pretty dire. Gonna have to hold on and make sure that the decision making is still crystal clear if you want to continue advancing on in the lower bracket of Proving Grounds. And EGP, and they're taking their time knowing that Baron is not of the necessity, just making sure that no team are feeling the pressure, being a Fog of War. I thought Griffin was looking potentially for an assassination. That would have been pretty bold in the middle of 3 people right there.
Yeah, but that's the thing you got to look for, right? If somebody is too far forward, you got to be willing to pull that trigger. That's something Griffin's been good at. Unfortunately, I mean, as is Kha'Zix, I mean, you should know as well as anybody, this champion feels bad when you are not able to find this advantage. And now, up against a team that's going to be standing on top of each other, it's hard to isolate members. So no team, they're trying to turn the tables, they're trying to take control and get mid-priority. But notice the fact that Faisal doesn't even need to join. He can just chill on the opposite side of the map and say, hey Dragoon, are you gonna deal with me? Are you gonna try and defend your base? And Dragoon's like, fine, I will go over. But that gives up all the pressure that no team had just developed.
Yeah, Faisal still has teleport. Dragoon still has one too, but because it is only him and not Blaze that has the teleport currently online, it is a top laner designated to match the top laner. But that means no primary engage for no team until Dragoon teleports into the fight. They find that they are on the Baron. EGP, I don't imagine they want to flip for it. They just want to see if they can isolate one member. Blaze gets split up, but the Onslaught of Shadows doesn't necessarily find the fear. Hostile takeover. Sketch flashes away from it. Beautiful flash. And look at Sketch onto the back line, but it gets routed off. He takes out one, but the shockwave from Leo cleans it up. No team will fall to Evil Genius's Prodigies when their brother team fell just moments ago. Hours to Taco Gaming. It is EGP that are the ones that will look to clean up and carry on the legacy of Evil Geniuses.
Oh my gosh, Leo's so good with these shockwaves. He's so patient, looking for every good opportunity. Daption should be able to find the kill up against Dragoon here. Yeah, the long-range auto attack comes through, and as the ace goes through, there's also this Baron get picked up. Wait like 2 seconds, make sure that Sketch gets this, but they find everything. They get the Baron, they get the mid lane turret. They're going to be able to reset. They're going to be able to go to the Dragon. 10,000 gold lead in EGP. Finally, they come up with a team composition that is easy to pilot. And Leo and Daption are always finding these big ultimates. The 3-man charm immediately followed into this huge shockwave, finding the last members that you need to. It is gorgeous how well they're playing these team fights, and it makes me ask, can we get more of this? Can we get more EGP games like this where they're just able to play these team fights so well? I want more of this throughout the entire tournament.
It was so scary from this perspective of Evil Geniuses when Sketch, his only option out was to Killer Instinct into the group of 3 people. And yes, even though he went down, it bought enough time, as you said, for Leo and Daption to follow through on the Wombo. And now no team, their only option is to stop EG from claiming this Mountain Soul. It would be so damn hard to fight against. They're burning it down. Perry is in the pit. Onslaught of Shadows runs to the back. 2,000 HP catch. Sketch is on the back line this time. He's unmatched with the Killer Instinct. He matches 1 for 1 against Jashuka, but now the rest of no team, they're going to try to fight back. Perry, Destiny charges to the back line. Faisal's cleaning them up. Blaze goes golden, but just to fall. Evil Evil Geniuses Prodigies, a quadra kill for Faisal, standing tall on this Jace to bring Evil Geniuses Prodigies through the lower bracket. And with the death timers this long, this is EGP's game to win and series to take home.
They are so close to ending. I don't think they can end it just quite yet, but the fact that they find so much, they get the inhibitor, there's no way you end, guys. Jashuka is alive. There's no way. They might get one turret. They definitely get one turret here.
I mean, can you just kill Jashuka? Maybe? Death timers, I guess, are going to be a little too long. I keep thinking that this is the moment that EGP take home the game, but no team still holding on. There's no teleport.
Blaze is teleporting.
Blaze has a teleport. Can he find a pick off
nah,
here? I don't know if he's gonna get there in time. There's wards. Yeah. A Realm Warp is there. Oh, they want it, but they turn around onto Blaze. Oh my goodness, and now the numbers advantage is once again back in the favor of Evil Geniuses Prodigies. They still have the Baron buff. They're looking for it. Sketch needs to see if he can get in range.
The slow.
Encore was not able to land, but Perry still has movement speed. Onslaught shadows into the back line. Watch for Leo, watch for Sketch. See if they are marked. Faisal still leading the charge. He still has the damage, and Evil Geniuses Prodigies. A bloodbath back and forth. 28 minutes in the making. 3 games in the making. And even though Evil Geniuses Academies fell, Evil Geniuses Prodigies carry on the name for the lower bracket into Proving Grounds. EGP upset no team.
It's a live evil kind of day, you guys. We see EGP come through, and they even get him 100% full HP to 0 on the fountain. And when push comes to shove, it is Daption and Leo who step up to do what they need to do. Daption with his first Seraphine game of the entire season ends up finding all of these clutch engages. Leo with so many important shockwaves locking down all the members of no team. If EGP play like that for the rest of the tournament, that's the kind of thing that can give them a seriously deep lower bracket run. But for no team, they're no longer, they're probably still a team, but they're no longer part of Proving Grounds after what must be a heartbreaking end to their series.
I wanted to save a piece of information throughout this series because I didn't want any jinxes to occur or just, affect how the outcome, the expectations were. But I got a chance to actually speak to Ido, the coach for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, and one of the important things that actually left a huge impression on me, I was asked about how just overall thoughts and feelings about the game tomorrow, and he said, I don't want my players to put too much emphasis on the results of our Proving Grounds run. I only care about the process, and I only care that our players are improving with each game that comes. If we make it through, the entire lower bracket, cool. If we only make it through one round, if we get knocked out tomorrow, I don't care, because for me, as long as the players are taking every game with just as importance as the next one, taking something to improve on for their overall career growth, that is the thing that is the most significant for him. And I think that mentality may have helped allow the players to loosen up a bit more and not feel as pressured and feel more confident in their abilities. You look at someone like Leo in the past, where we know that the solo queue grind had not been as consistent in the past, and not having the confidence to continue grinding games and keeping up with the rest of his peers, whereas everyone else is probably putting in multiple hours and hours and hours. But Leo's to still maintain some of that top tier play, the presence of mind, the patience to wait for critical shockwaves. Those were some of the greatest moments that we saw throughout this series, bar none.
Yeah, and it's not just this series either, right? This is some of the best I've ever seen Leo play throughout the entire unified, all the unified, Proving Grounds qualifiers. It has been a fantastic journey from them. The process is working, as Ido was saying, right? And that's something that I hope that they can continue taking forward into the rest of the tournament, but also something for no team, right? This is not the end for these players. It might be the end for this Proving Grounds run, but there's summer. There's going to be another Proving Grounds in just a couple of months. Take the lessons that you've learned here and continue going forward, because there's a lot of promising talent on this team that I think should definitely, if sponsors are looking for teams, this is one of the first teams you should be looking at to try and pick up, try and find an opportunity to get these players to Academy, give them more resources, and I think these guys will take you far.
And also, props to No Team for putting up a well-fought battle. And, a lot of people had expected to be a powerful foe for EGP to overcome. And a lot, I think Cubby was one of the main people who had No Team as his main dark horse for the tournament. But Prodigies decided to say #LiveEvil. They are the ones that are pushing through the lower bracket. And they're the ones that will remain to see another day in this Proving Grounds tournament, as the next matchup is against FlyQuest, Josh.
Yeah, and that's 2 upsets we saw today, right? I think most people had Evil Geniuses winning up against Taco Gaming. I think most people were realistically expecting No Team were ready, or were going to be the ones that would actually take this down. And it was backwards both times. And that's what's so exciting about the rest of Proving Grounds, is as the tournament keeps going, matches are going to get even better.
This is what makes some of the greatest stories in the Proving Grounds tournament, when the unexpected happen. But again, congratulations to EGP, a well-deserved victory, a hard-fought series as well. When we come back from this break, Mazel is going to be interviewing one of the Evil Genius Prodigies members. Stick around. We're gonna find out who.
Welcome on back to the Proving Grounds, powered by Verizon. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, we could not get an interview with Faisal from EGP, but it does not discount the victory that has been had today. We do see EGP rising to the occasion, coming away with a 2-1 victory, bringing back Rafa and Joshi. I'm Mazel. We're going to round out the day here, fellas. Just want to get your quick thoughts on that last series, since we've had a little bit of time in between, kind of refresh us and your guys' thoughts to finish out the day.
I think one of the things that we always see is that even though our amateur teams are amateur, right, doesn't mean that they are necessarily any worse, especially as individuals, than their academy teams, right? One of the big things that we saw was that Leo had the best game of League of Legends I have ever seen him play, right? And he looked honestly better than a lot of the academy mid laners if you were only using this game as a sample size, because he was willing to do things, he was willing to think about the game in ways that very few players are willing to do. And it's the kind of thing that says, when people say that like North America has no talent, I'm just like, what are you talking about? These players are just not developed. You haven't been giving them the resources, but even if you give them a little bit of time to develop, these guys are going to take a lot of these teams by storm. And if that's the kind of performance we're going to be getting from EGP for the rest of the tournament, they're going to make a really deep run.
The other thing, too, about...
It's actually been...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The other thing, too, about both of these teams that won today, they were remarkable upsets, too. I mean, like, even in the amateur matchup between No Team and Evil Geniuses Prodigies, when you look at the track record and look at the seeding and the past performances that we saw No Team as, we thought that No Team was one of the heavy favorites alongside 100 Thieves next to be one of the few amateur teams to make a very deep run in a tournament filled alongside not only very strong and well-coordinated academy teams, but also academy teams who, yes, they had to play in through the play-in stage, also having a remarkable wake-up at this point in the tournament and, really finding their stride. The fact that Taco Gaming proceed over EGA, and then EGP proceeding over No Team, is just goes to show that not only the process works, but also on a tournament day, the unexpected team can show up and perform better.
Yeah, exactly. And I do want to go ahead and recap that day, as you were kind of mentioning here. We did have a full day of games. It was a full 6 games, 2 best of 3s, and it was Taco Gaming coming out 2-1 over EG Academy in a huge upset, and the first win for amateur teams against academy teams. And then we had the amateur bout there in the end, and it was a 2-1 victory for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, making the namesake work this time around against No Team.
I'm kind of surprised, honestly, right? Like, there was talks about whether or not the EG teams were going to make it to a civil war. And if they had both won their next 2 rounds, or, not just this round, but the round after, they would end up playing each other as well. And it's a spot where it's not common that you get the kind of like the C team for Evil Geniuses, right? The Evil Geniuses Prodigies outperforming the Academy roster, and the fact that they are able to do so is kind of a testament to how much work they have put in. Now, I'm told that they have a dismal record in scrims head to head against Evil Geniuses Academy, but again, right? Like,
Don't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Don't matter.
You just need
Gotta
to
come away
you
in the
need to
moment.
play on the tournament in order to actually have any of that matter, and that's what we're seeing from EGP right now. They were able to play just like Doxa said about Taco Gaming. The pressure is only helping.
All the games that lead
Indeed
up
it
to that
is.
moment then it's all building up to just when it matters most, when your tournament lives are on the line. And for EGP, as you said, Josh, if that is the form that we can consistently expect from the team, if that is the form that you get every single game from here on out, FlyQuest better be ready then, because this is not going to be the same team that they looked at last week.
Exactly. I do want to bring up that graphic of the bracket itself. I believe we'll start with the upper bracket. So not anywhere where we were today, but just kind of giving it a little bit of a show here as we do see the next matches up in that upper bracket. Not for a little while, will be IMT Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy and Team Liquid Academy going against C9 Academy. And then when we look at the lower bracket, that's where we were thriving at today. It's where we had some eliminations in No Team and Taco Gaming, but we see the next matches set up for both the teams. We saw Victorious today as Taco Gaming taking on Dignitas Academy next, and it's Evil Geniuses Prodigies taking on FlyQuest Academy, as you foreshadowed to, Rafa.
Yeah, as I look at this a little bit as well, I would normally look at their next couple of matchups that we're playing, 100 Thieves next versus Winthrop and Immortals AoE versus TSM Academy. And normally I would look at these and say, I'm pretty sure I know how these are going to go, right? TSM Academy really finding their stride towards the end. And of course, 100 Thieves next, the best performing amateur team thus far. But when you get days like this, it kind of makes you question that, right? Like, are we going to see the same performance out of these teams? Who's going to step up? Who's going to really overperform what their seed was looking like? And we've already seen so much of that today.
Exactly. And, looking at tomorrow, looking at the next games, looking at the next eliminations is a big deal, right? Every day, these teams get knocked out one by one. And tomorrow will be no different. Lower bracket continues as we do see that 100 Thieves versus Winthrop and Immortals AoE versus TSM Academy.
So there you have it. I'm very excited to what we see. I was kind of looking at it when it says LB round 1. I thought it said Le round 1, and Mazel wouldn't know anything about that.
Round.
No, not at all whatsoever.
I was like, I mean, we have the Frenchman himself on broadcast, but going into those two matchups tomorrow, I would have had normal expectations for certain matchups to go a certain way, but based on how today went, if we have more ups, I mean, like, upsets can happen.
I'm here for it.
That's the beauty of Proving Grounds, and I think that more so than not, in the lower bracket, when pressure is on the table for both of these teams, I think any team can have what it takes to really turn the odds against them.
Exactly that. It is all down to the competition, and it's all down to proving yourself here in the Proving Grounds. But it's been a wonderful day. It's been a long day here. So thank you for guys for joining me for the day. It's been a long one, and you guys have had a lot of fun with it. The cast were great. Production behind the scenes for making us look so darn good, and the audience for sticking with us, getting that popcorn, getting the drinks, and making sure to ride along the action right here with us. So thank you all. Be back here tomorrow, and go follow at Pat to LCS for any updates, and we'll see you on Summoner's Rift.